Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Board meeting for Wednesday, October 7th. This is the Planning Board of the City of Springfield. Phil, would you do roll call for us, please?
Mr. Cunningham?
Here.
Mr. Minio? He's absent. Mr. Daniele?
Here.
Ms. Moran?
Here.
Ms. DiFilippo?
Here.
Mr. Florian?
Here.
Ms. McQuaid?
Here.
And Ms. Choi is absent, but we do have a quorum. Just quickly for the folks who are going to be watching this meeting, again, just to let everyone know that due to this, the way the Zoom meetings are operating, items will be heard at one meeting and then continued and then voted at another. There are 3 items that were previously from the meeting before, and then a new item tonight. So that item would be heard tonight, but then continued, and the approval vote would be at the next meeting on November 4th. So on that note, just I would also ask that folks, if you're not speaking, if you could mute yourselves. But on that note, Gloria, I think we're all set to move ahead.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Before we begin the actual meeting, we have minutes from August 19th and September 2nd to accept. If the members have reviewed the minutes, I will accept a motion.
Make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Phil, will you do roll call vote, please?
On accepting the minutes, Mr. Cunningham?
Yes.
Mr. Minio? Absent. Mr. Daniele?
Yes.
Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Ms. DiFilippo?
Yes.
Mr. Florian?
Yes.
Ms. McQuaid?
Yes.
Ms. Choi? Absent. Minutes have been approved.
Okay, thank you. Can you please read the first public hearing?
Under public hearings, continued, a liquor license, package store liquor license transfer, location 445, 447 Sumner Avenue. The petitioner is Parkside Discount Liquor, Inc. I believe Attorney Tim Ryan is here, as well as the owner. Just for the board's notice, we did receive a letter from Attorney Ryan, as well as the owners of the property, which are Forest Park Eye Care. I can read that into the record, but after, I don't know if Tim or the owner want to elaborate on the petition.
I'd be happy to, Mr. Drummy.
If you could just, again, if people speak, and just state their name and address, please.
Yep, Tim Ryan, attorney for the petitioner, Parkside Discount Liquors. And we submitted a letter, and the petition is to transfer an all alcohol license from another location within the city to this location, which I think my memory goes back so far that I think was built out as a Lafayette Radio and then became Radio Shack. And more recently, the past couple of years, it had been a discount retailer, and it's been empty now for, I don't know, 18 months, 2 years. Mr. Gogri, who is the person behind the petitioner, he has had prior experience both within this state as well as in Connecticut with 4 other alcohol licenses. 2 were just beer and wine, and 2 were full alcohol licenses. He's currently running a package store over on Memorial Drive in West Springfield, and he seeks to transfer the license that was held up there on Cottage Street over here. As we lay out in our presentation, Forest Park is the most populous neighborhood in the city. It's a very large neighborhood geographically, and right now within the ex-commercial district, there's only one existing license, which is the Forest Park Discount or Forest Park Liquors. Years ago, probably 10 or 15 years ago, there were 2 full liquor licenses in that ex-commercial district. As you had I think it was the liquors, it was the Chakrella business, and that failed due to other issues. But there were no issues within the neighborhood that I'm aware of, having been a lifelong resident of Forest Park, with having two businesses, two full liquor licenses within the neighborhood. He has a record of knowing how to run it. Forest Park Eye Care, which has spent considerable money to renovate their property, are willing to extend to him a 20-year lease, which obviously is contingent upon approval. And I would point out that for those of us who live and use the businesses in the community, it's the small businesses up there, it's the small businesses within the X that really stand out. It's the typical Sicilian, it's the Christos, it's Forest Park Eye Care, it's Trends. Those are the things that really have provide some wow factor and have patrons coming in from both the neighborhood and beyond the neighborhood. The petitioner is hopeful to obviously tap the neighborhood business. He's also hoping, based on the location, catching the eastbound Sumner Ave traffic, to catch some of the commuter traffic that's going to go by his doorway in the evenings back to Long Meadow and East Long Meadow, and provide them an additional option, an additional choice, to the extent they're looking for beer and wine, as well as what can be sold on an all alcohol license. So if you were to do it proportionately, the neighborhood, the Forest Park neighborhood, could have 5 full licenses, and 2 of the licenses that serve the neighborhood, Frank's and the Fort Pleasant site, are really on the periphery of the neighborhood, and the only other full license is, as I indicated, the Forest Park license. So it's not an oversaturation. He has ample off-street parking. The off-street parking can access Cliffwood, and either, if they want to go westbound back on Sumner, go back around to the light, or if they're heading to Long Meadow, East Long Meadow, go down to Dickinson and then access those communities as well. So we're asking for your approval of this. He has the wherewithal, he has the experience. He anticipates it's going to be well over $500,000 between the purchase of the license and the fixtures of the store for him to get up and running. So it's nothing that he's done lightly. And so he has the wherewithal to make it happen and do it the right way. And so we ask for your affirmative approval. And we're open for any questions.
Do any of the board members have any questions?
Gloria, I just also wanted to recognize Luca Minio. He's joined the meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And Mr. Gogri is on the phone, Madam Chair. I don't believe he's actually zoomed in.
And I don't know if you want me to, Gloria, to read the letter from the owners, or?
I believe that did all the board members see that letter?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. That should be,
Yes.
as long as we've confirmed that everyone has seen it.
I had a question, Tim. How close are they to the nearest resident?
The nearest resident would be the 15-unit building on the corner of that side street, which is owned by Kevin Sears. Kevin Sears is not in opposition. Kevin obviously doesn't live there, but and then there's 2 family homes down that side street. I want to say it's not Continental, it's the next street. And there's homes as well on Sumner Ave, which would be beyond that 15 unit.
Okay. And just one last question. What is the staff? Like how many people would be working in the store?
Mr. Gagri would have a better answer than I do, but it's got to be 4 to 8 minimum, just to cover the hours.
Okay.
Mr. Gogri, can you answer that question? I guess not. I don't think he's on any longer. I could be wrong.
He
I
still
see his
shows
name,
up.
but I don't know if he's connected, so.
Do any of the
Mr. Ryan,
other-
maybe you could call him?
He just said, I am here.
Yeah, I heard him, but now it doesn't come up like that.
Mr. Gogri, or you can,
Well, he must be off.
here.
No, he just. It's playing movable people here.
Might be muted.
no, he's not muted, so I'm not sure what the issue is, but unfortunately it's,
Okay. Well, we know that there's difficulty.
Hello?
oh, there. Mr. Gogri? Oh, that was Tim, I think.
How many employees do you expect? How many employees would you expect at the store? Okay, okay. I don't know why he can't connect, but he thinks minimum 3 to 4 in busy times, 5. So,
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. That was a good question, Leo, because that was the issue with one of the issues with the other one we heard 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough people to watch the parking lot and the
Right.
business. And I believe we talked to him about cameras last time, about having cameras on the inside and the outside to monitor the parking lot and
Right.
make sure people weren't sitting there drinking and that type of thing. I know we had
Right.
that discussion. Did we
All right.
also discuss whether he was going to talk to Forest Park or not? I'm trying to remember. I've got my notes here.
He did talk to Forest Park Civic Association.
Okay,
I believe he did.
Yes.
since the last
There's
meeting.
Mr. Gogri now, if you want to.
There he is.
Hello,
he's muted still.
you're muted.
I don't think he's muted, we're just not hearing him.
Yeah,
Well, again, I think just to clarify, he did go to the Forest Park Civic Association. I think their letter that they indicated they were not in favor of it.
Right.
that's correct.
But I think we're going to try and get some clarification on their more reasoning, but I'm not sure if that was, Gloria, I thought you had indicated you might contact them, but I'm not sure if it.
No, I don't remember. I know I didn't contact them, so that may be my fault.
Okay.
I know one of the issue was selling singles and nips.
Yeah.
Am I correct from the last meeting?
I wasn't there, Madam Chair, but I understand that the thought was that the neighborhood is adequately serviced by alcohol, even though, as I pointed out, it is proportionally underserved. And on that issue, let me just bring in 2 years ago when we were doing with Mr. Dromey the marijuana ordinance, I do recall very heated expressions from both Councilor Edwards for Ward 3 and Councilor Twiggs in Ward 4 that the minority neighborhoods were overserved or oversaturated and the neighborhoods such as Forest Park were undersaturated or underserved. But the letter from Forest Park would indicate that they just felt that the neighborhood was well served. On the issue of singles, Mr. Gogri said that it's an item that he sells, and with the state pulling menthol cigarettes, and I think there was an article today about how it's driven cigarette sales down 35%, he can't voluntarily agree to pull out of his business items that are otherwise legally sellable. So that was the exchange with Forest Park, as best I understand it.
Okay, thank you.
Brian, I have a couple of questions.
Sure, go ahead.
And I'm just looking on Google here, and it looks like within a couple 100 feet of the proposed location, it looks like we have a pediatric center, a dance studio, and also what is this, Taekwondo. Do you know if those businesses are still operating?
I'm not sure that the pediatric center, if that's in the old Blake's, I think that might be gone. And the dance center and the Taekwondo, I've been buying for so many years, I forget whether they're still operating or not.
It may
Thank you.
be hard to tell with COVID because a lot of places haven't been able to operate because of, it's not that they're not in business, but they just can't do it.
Okay. Any other questions, Luca?
I think the only other question I might have is that I know that there's a curb cut on Sumner Avenue, and from a traffic standpoint, I think people exiting back onto Sumner Avenue, I don't think that from a safety standpoint, taking a left onto Sumner Avenue probably should be prohibited. I'm not sure if that the proponent is open to maybe putting a no left-hand turn sign at that vehicular exit in the event that obviously the permit passes.
You know, obviously at 5 and 6 o'clock in the evening, when the traffic is backed up all the way to the entrance to the park, that makes eminent sense. And certainly it would be our hope that people would use the back way and go out to Cliffwood and circle the block and come back out to the lights for the purposes of traffic. So I'd have to talk to the petitioner, but it does make eminent sense, certainly during the height of the rush hour. You know, later in the evening when the traffic slows down, I would ask for a different consideration, but during those 4 to 6, 4 to 7 hours, it makes eminent sense.
Luca, couldn't the sign state that? No left turn between the hours of blank and blank?
I think, especially representing the DPW, it should be prohibited altogether. It shouldn't be, explicitly during certain period hours. The reality is that Sumner Avenue is a very highly traveled road. It has, tens of thousands of cars traveling on it per day. And crossing 2 lanes of traffic to take a left, to me it poses a safety hazard. I would suggest that if the permit were to pass, that we would implement a special condition in prohibiting that left-hand turn out of the curb cut on Sumner Avenue.
Okay.
Luca, I have a question for you.
Sure.
How much control does he have? I mean, it seems like if it's a traffic control sign, then shouldn't it be the city and DPW who put it up so that there's some kind of teeth behind it? I mean, if an owner just puts it up, I don't know that anything can be done to stop people. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do, and obviously the sign is going to be placed on their property, and there's cases all over the city where there are no left-hand turn signs, and people do not adhere to them. But the hope is that most people will. So the sign wouldn't be on city property; it would be behind the sidewalk, right as the cars are exiting.
But he has no legal rights as far as having to do anything about that. I mean, except for putting the sign up.
Putting the sign up, and the sign, needs to be maintained in case it gets knocked over or something like that. Yes.
Okay, why won't the city just put the sign at the end of the street? No left turn.
And the only reason why I wouldn't want to do so that Sumner Avenue is going to be completely reconstructed in 4 years, and in 2024, I believe it's on the tip for that year. But typically when we are looking at sites, the only way that you would have a no left turn would be under the circumstance if the road was one way. For instance, if there was a median, correct? Like on Boston Road, at the corner of Aldi's, you can't take the left because there's a median in the way, you'd be going against traffic. So unfortunately, in only those situations, the city would obviously be responsible for putting signage up. But I mean, for me, as someone who drives up and down this road daily, I'm an East Forest Park resident. We don't want to create more hazards on Sumner Road than there already are. And I think a no left turn at the exit on, if the special permit or if the transfer is granted would make sense from a safety standpoint.
Okay, do any of the counselors, any other counselors have any other questions? Okay, hearing no other questions, I will accept a motion to close this hearing.
I'll
So
make a
moved.
motion to close the hearing.
And have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Phil, if you'll do roll call.
To close the public hearing, Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Mr. Daniele,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Ms. DiFilippo,
Yes,
Mr. Florian,
Yes.
Mr. McQuaid,
Yes.
and Ms. Joy absent.
okay, I will accept a motion regarding this petition.
I think the only thing that I'd like to say before we actually vote is that, what do we think that the X should be, and from today moving forward, the state's going to come in, 4 years, they're going to spend $12 million completely reconstructing the X all the way from the entrance to Forest Park all the way past the CVS. And well, I personally don't think that oversaturation is an issue in this particular location, but I guess my question to the board is, what do we want the X to be in, a few years from now? And is that the type of establishment that we think would fit in with our vision of what the X should be? I totally understand that they're trying to fill the space, and a lot of people are suffering from the pandemic, but I don't want it to get to 5 years down the road and then we look back and, maybe having a package store at this particular location might not have been the best idea and the entire vision of what the X could be. So I think that's the only comment I have.
Okay,
My only concern with that, I totally agree, is the planning board needs to kind of maintain that we're looking at land use here.
Right.
So that's what the planning board is required to do for these liquor licenses, whether or not it's an appropriate land use. So I do need to stress that the discussions of management and kind of overall plans, I think, can lean more toward the license commission, whereas the planning board is kind of limited in how we're looking at this. So I just need to, and I just, with regards to the sign, I just need to stress that the planning board is only a recommending body. Ultimately, the liquor license would have to adopt that, and I'm not sure that's under their purview to do. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I don't know. So, although if you want to make an amendment to add that, that's fine. It is only recommendation. So the license commission ultimately needs to approve anything that the planning board is going to recommend.
okay. Thank you, Phil. Do I have a motion either in favor of this petition or against?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Were there any conditions though, Gloria?
Yeah, gotta read them. Who's making the motion?
I'll read them. Hold on. All right. I make a recommendation to approve with conditions. The following conditions: 1, the hour of operations shall be stated by the petitioner. 2, all landscape areas, including public tree belts, should be maintained and kept free of all trash and debris. 3, the public sidewalk along Sumner Avenue shall be maintained, including snow removal. 4, there shall be no banners or streamers or promotional materials located on the exterior of the building or within the parking lot. 5, there shall be no on-site alcohol consumption. 6, there shall be no loitering. 7, Any and all exterior changes to the building, including signage, shall be reviewed and approved by the Office of Planning and Economic Development prior to the issuance of a building permit. As per the regulations of the Neighborhood Council, the Neighborhood Commercial Overlay District, Article 8, Section 8.1. And that looks like all the
Those are all the conditions.
conditions.
Thank you, Marty. Phil, if you would do roll call vote.
So we had a second to that, correct?
Yeah, that was
Yes.
me.
Rosemary
Okay.
seconded.
On the motion to approve with conditions,
Yes.
Mr. Cunningham, Mr.
No,
Minio, Mr.
Yes.
Daniele,
Yes.
Ms. Moran, Ms.
Yes.
DiFilippo,
Yes.
Florian,
Yes.
Ms. McQuaid. Ms. Choi is absent. The motion's approved.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you. Phil, if you would do our next petition, please.
Under public hearings continued, zone change 3217, address 1245 Liberty Street, 1355 Liberty Street, 1377 Liberty Street, 1250 St. James Avenue, 1284, 1290 St. James Avenue, 1276 St. James Avenue, and West Side 1252 St. James Avenue. Proposed zone change from Industrial A to Business A. The petitioner, Springfield Planning Board. Again, I'm Phil Dromey, Deputy Director of Planning. Just to let the board know, I have not received any comments. Hold on 1 second, I'm just seeing who. On this proposed zone change. I did want to mention that the Chief Development Officer, Tim Sheehan, did have a conversation with the owners of the property, and they actually have no objection and think it's a positive. So that was kind of the only concern that I had left is we notify them by mail, but we hadn't specifically spoken to them, but Tim Sheehan
Okay.
has. So,
Thank you.
but other than that, again, it's just simply to rezone a good chunk of that plaza that's currently zoned industrial A to business A.
Okay. Do any of the counselors have any other questions? If not, I'll accept a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept or approve the zone change.
Is there a second?
Second.
Phil, if you would read the roll call.
Motion to approve zone change number 3217, Mr. Cunningham?
Yes.
Cunningham?
yes,
Mr. Minio? Mr.
Yes.
Daniele? Ms. Moran?
Yes.
Ms.
Yes.
DiFilippo? Mr.
Yes.
Florian?
Yes.
Ms. McQuaid? Ms. Choi absent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next continued public hearing was,
Under site plan review, the address is 225 Corando Drive for the renovation of an existing building for a proposed charter school. Petitioner Greenfield Development LLC. I do believe there's some folks here
Yes.
from that development.
Michael McDonald, attorney for Greenfield. My address is 991 Shaw Road in Windsor, Massachusetts. The only item that I recall from the last hearing was a request by the board that we submit a arrival and departure proposal or protocol. We went to the school. We submitted through Mr. Dromey a 2-page arrival and dismissal protocol. It involves 6 staff, 5 specific positions, and then an arrival manager for the arrivals and a dismissal manager for the dismissal to address, I think, in a fair amount of detail, the issues that were raised by the board or questions that were raised by the board last meeting. So that's all we have additional to submit unless there are other questions.
does anyone have any other questions about the material that was submitted?
I had a question actually, Gloria, for Phil. With this plan that they submitted, did the planning department have any concerns over this? because we saw what they submitted at the last meeting, all of the other material, but this is new. So did any department have any comments on this plan that they submitted to us today?
I don't have any concerns. Again, I'm not an expert in the kind of the loading and unloading of school children, so I defer to kind of the Department of Public Works as far as how this will operate, specifically how it would impact the public way there. But I looked it over and it seemed like an adequate plan to me.
Okay, thank you.
Also, just to let the board know, I have not received any additional comments of any of the abutters or on this proposed.
Okay, thank you, Phil. Hearing no other comments or concerns from the board, I will accept a motion.
I don't have the analysis with all of the conditions and
And
stuff.
I can read the conditions if someone wants to make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to accept. Sorry, I don't have them either, Phil.
All right, well, so accept with
And
conditions.
I second.
Okay,
You want me to read the conditions, Gloria?
yeah, or I can read them, whichever.
I found them too.
That's all right. I'll just read them. The conditions, the site plan approval is granted solely for the reuse of an existing building for a charter school at the property known as 225 Corando Drive. The use shall be developed in accordance with the attached site plans and elevations with the additions of conditions 4 through 8. All landscaping shall be installed as per the attached plans. There shall be no pickup or drop off of students on Corando Drive. All queuing of vehicles for pickup and drop off shall take place on site. In addition to the planning board site plan approval, a full review by the Department of Public Works as per the provisions of City Ordinance, Chapter 27, Article 8, subsections 27 through 58 through 27 through 63 will be required. This review shall include the approval of the traffic study and traffic management plans. This approval must be obtained prior to the issuance of a building permit and/or a certificate of occupancy. Any and all building permits, including sign permits, shall be obtained prior to the start of any work. Compliance with these conditions, as well as any and all zoning regulations, is required. Failure to comply may result in the denial of the issuance of a building permit and/or certificate, occupancy permit, revocation of any permits issued, and/or enforcement of the Code Enforcement Department, punishable with fines up to $200 per day for each day of violations exists. The approval criteria is as follows. The project complies with all applicable provisions and requirements of the Springfield zoning ordinance, including all use, dimensional, size, utility, and overlay district standards. The project will avoid significant detrimental environmental impacts, including storm runoff, erosion, and sedimentation. The project will ensure adequate light and air quality for adjacent properties and minimize detrimental visual impacts on adjacent uses in public streets, parks, buildings, and other public places. The project will not impair pedestrian safety or overload existing roads, considering their current width, servicing, and condition. The project will provide adequate access for fire, police, and emergency vehicles. The project will minimize odor, noise, solid waste, glare, and other nuisance in accordance with the city ordinance. The project has no impact on historic resources as determined by section 12.7 of the Springfield zoning ordinance.
Thank you for that, Phil. If you would do roll call vote.
Voting in favor of the site plan approval, Mr. Kenningham,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Mr. Daniele,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Ms. DiFilippo,
Yes.
Mr. Florian,
Yes.
Ms. McQuaid.
Yes, and I'm gonna have phone on the video. My mom was just a tree just on her car. I have to go see her, so I'm with my daughter, but
Okay.
I'm gonna have it on mute. So okay.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Ms. Choi is absent. The motion is approved.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Phil, if you would do the next site plan review.
Yes, under public hearings continued, site plan review, address East Side Martone Place, East Side 0 Martone Place, 70 Martone Place, and East Side St. James Avenue for the construction of a new indoor storage facility containing more than 30,000 square feet. Petitioner Brian K., also known as BK. Again, I believe they're on the meeting as well.
Does anyone have anything else to say from the petitioner?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, this is Casey. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
This is Casey from Solely Engineering, address 351 Newberry Street, Boston, Mass. I'm here on representing the applicant BK Realty, 1260 Sumner Avenue, Springfield, Mass. No, I don't really have too much more to add from what you guys saw last time. There have been a few minor modifications that I just wanted to bring to your attention. Nothing major. We did remove the dumpster pad location because it was brought to our attention that this facility would be internally, the receptacles would be internal, and having a dumpster pad in that type of area leads to clutter and people abusing that use. So that was one of the changes, and we just had some minor grading and drainage modifications for the DPW's comments. So other than that, nothing much.
Okay, do any of the counselors have any further questions?
No.
If not, I will take a motion to end this hearing. Accept a motion to end this hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second, Phil, if you would do.
A motion to close the public hearing, Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Mr. Daniele,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Mr. Filippo,
Yes.
Mr. Florian,
Yes.
Ms. McQuaid.
Yes.
Very good, right? And Ms. Choi's after, so motion to close is approved.
I will accept a motion regarding this site plan review. I will read the recommended conditions.
Okay.
Thank you, Gloria. For that, I'll make a motion then to approve it.
Second.
Going, ooh.
All right. Let me take my glasses off so I can read it. Recommended conditions. This site plan approval is granted solely for the construction of 2 self-storage buildings with accessory parking at the properties known as East Side Martone Place, East Side 0 Martone Place, and 70 Martone Place, and East Side St. James Avenue. The use shall be developed in accordance to the attached site plans and elevations with the addition of conditions 3 through 12. All landscaping shall be installed as per the attached plans. 4, in addition to the wildflower mix to be installed along the eastern property, a revised planting plan shall be submitted to the Office of Planning and Economic Development for review and approval, showing additional evergreen buffer plantings. 5, all landscaped and/or lawn areas shall be irrigated. 6, any and all dumpsters shall be completely enclosed. 7, the site shall be maintained free of all trash, litter, debris, and overgrown vegetation. 8, in addition to the planning board site plan review, a full review by the Department of Public Works as per the provisions of City Ordinance, Chapter 27, Article 7, 2758 through 2763 shall be required. This approval must be obtained prior to the issuance of a building permit. If, as a result of this review, changes are required to the approved site plan, the applicant will be required to come back to the planning board for approval prior to the issuance of a building permit. 9, access to this site shall be maintained by the petitioner, including snow removal. 10, the public sidewalk along St. James Ave shall be maintained, including snow removal. 11, any and all building permits, including sign permits, shall be obtained prior to the start of construction. 12, an approval not required plan, A&R, shall be submitted to the planning board for approval showing the reconfiguration of the new parcels. The approved plan shall be recorded at the Hampden County Registry of Deeds. 13, compliance with these conditions as well as any and all zoning regulations is required. Failure to comply may result in denial of the issuance of a building permit and/or occupancy permit. Revocation of any permits issued and/or enforced by the Code Enforcement Department punishable by fines of up to $200 per day for each day a violation exists. Approval criteria findings. 1, the project complies with the applicable provisions and requirements of Springfield zoning ordinance, including all use, dimensional, site, utility, and overlay district standards. 2, the project avoids significant detrimental environmental impacts, including stormwater runoff, erosion, or sedimentation. 3, the project ensures adequate light and air quality for adjacent properties and minimizes detrimental visual impacts on adjacent uses in public streets, parks, buildings, and other public places. 4, the project will not impair pedestrian safety or overload existing roads, considering their current width, surfacing, and condition. 5, the project will provide adequate access for fire, police, and emergency vehicles. 6, the project will minimize noise, dust, odors, solid waste, glare, or any other nuisances in accordance with city ordinance. 7, the project has no impacts on historic resources as determined by section 12.7 of the Springfield zoning ordinance.
I'll second the motion.
Phil, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Voting to approve the site plan, Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Mr. Daniele,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Ms. DiFilippo,
Yes.
Mr. Florian,
Oh, sorry, I'm not videotaping.
Yes.
Quaid.
No, I'm listening. Yeah, yes, Phil, I'm
Jennifer,
sorry,
we gotta-
I can't stay
Yeah,
on.
so, and Ms. Choi is absent. Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Jennifer.
Thank you, counsel.
I have 6.
Thank you, counsel.
So we can still hear the special permit if you need to duck out. I'm taking that as a yes. Okay, sorry about that. So, okay, under public hearings new, the next item is for a special permit, address 733 East Columbus Avenue, installation of an additional ground sign, petitioner Belize MZ Inc.
Is there someone here to speak in favor of this petition?
There is, Madam Chair. My name's Craig Brown. I'm a lawyer with Doherty Wallace, Pillsbury and Murphy in Springfield at 1414 Main Street, and we represent Belize MZ Inc. I'm here with Jeb Belize, the principal of the petitioner. And as Phil indicated, this is a petition for a second ground sign at the Belize Mazda that's under construction on East Columbus Avenue. I think we all know that the East Columbus Avenue businesses are uniquely situated with visibility from 91 as well as East Columbus Avenue. The project has a pole sign that will be visible from Interstate 91, and this request is for a special permit to erect a second ground sign that would be a monument sign visible from traffic on East Columbus Avenue. I'll ask Mr. Belize to explain why we think it's a necessary sign at this location.
Thank you, Craig. Good evening, members. In a nutshell, it's just a continuation of what we did at Hyundai originally. So the monument sign, it's pretty small, and it's used, I would say, primarily as a directional sign. So it tells people that are driving on Columbus Avenue where to turn in, because obviously the height of the signs for 91, which are the big brand signs, are so high if you're driving at street level. So it's really was designed in our original plan, architecturally correct in that the signs are at the same levels and very consistent with all our other signage on the street.
Is the sign similar to the one on in West Springfield when you turn into Mazda?
No, so the signs are new, and so those are dated. These signs are new and more contemporary looking.
Okay, but it's on the same order.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the counselors have any questions?
I just want to say that, I'm sure that whatever, Belize has been down in the neighborhood for, 100 years. And all of the projects that he's brought forward, from a neighborhood standpoint, have always, they've all been top rate. So I'm sure whatever he's looking to put there, I mean, especially with this sign, he's not going to do anything that wouldn't really, benefit, the business and the area. So we're glad that he continues to invest in the city. And, this is just something to me as a no-brainer.
And I'll just, from a DPW standpoint, I myself, I reviewed that site plan and, it was approved last year and we've had no issues on our end with the project at all.
All right, thank you, Luca. If there are no questions, I will accept a motion to continue this hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Bill?
On the motion to continue, Mr. Cunningham,
Yes.
Mr. Minio,
Yes.
Mr. Daniele,
Yes.
Ms. Moran,
Yes.
Ms. DiFilippo,
Yes.
Mr. Florian,
Yes.
Ms. McQuaid absent, and Ms. Choi absent. So the motion to continue is approved. The next meeting will be November 4th for the final vote.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have non-subs.
Yeah, just quickly, let me see if I can bring these up real quick here.
Bill, quick question. There's not another meeting in October?
Oh, I'm sorry. God, sorry. Yes, I'm screwing that up. Yeah, it should be the 21st. I keep saying November 1st. So Jeb, the meeting is October 21st, not November 4th.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sorry. I keep messing that up. All right, let me just find my. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can. Can you guys see that?
Coming up.
Whoops. All right. There we go. Do you see that now, folks?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So this is the end of Wilbraham Avenue. Just so everybody can see, this is what they're proposing to do is close off that end of Sumner Avenue. Of Wilbraham Avenue, and this is where they're proposing to create the new park that's being replaced for the new construction of Duggan. As part of that new construction, the park that's currently next to Duggan needed to be relocated. So that this portion of Wilbraham Avenue will be discontinued, and then there was a number of parcels owned by, I believe, Springfield College. That the city was able to obtain. So this is simply just to combine those parcels into one larger parcel, which will become a new city park.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Can we do vocal?
Yeah, that's fine.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstains? Motion passes.
Okay, the next parcel here is down on the corner of Hamden and East Columbus Avenue. This is actually the WGGB building. There was a vacant parcel that's owned by the city, which abuts them. They went through the abutter program with the city and was able to obtain it. So as part of that requirement, they are now incorporating that parcel into their larger parcel for one common ownership.
Okay.
Move to approve.
So what are they going to do with that?
I don't know if they're going to kind of try and expand their parking. I think I'm not exactly 100% sure. It's been kind of this orphan parcel over here for years that the city owns. I'm not even sure how we obtained it, but they will now own it and maintain it, which is a good thing.
Okay.
Was there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Hey,
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
And then lastly, on Claran Street, it's just 2 existing parcels that they're removing the lot line down the middle to create one.
So moved. Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Okay, so just on the 21st, we do have a pretty large subdivision. I'm not sure if I sent you out notices or not, but it's actually the parcel is behind the Stop and Shop in the 16 acres neighborhood. It's a pretty large parcel right off of Allen Street. They're purchasing a couple parcels which have existing homes on them, and then they're proposing a pretty large subdivision behind that. There are some issues with DPW. There's also going to be a number of conservation-related issues because they're actually going to be crossing a wetland to access the larger parcel. So I think there's going to be some issues with this. We'll see how that works, because I think we are going to get some public opposition, so we'll have to see how this Zoom meeting goes with people. Again, we'll have the opportunity to leave voicemails or send in emails, but and this is only going to be preliminary plan, so a full definitive plan will need to be submitted at a later date, but that's coming down.
Stop and Shop though, is this?
Yeah, it's a large parcel right behind the Stop and Shop on Cooley Street.
Cooley Street, okay.
So as you're heading down Allen Street, right when you pass the Stop and Shop, there's 2 houses there that behind those is a really large parcel that they're going to try and develop. So.
okay.
Other than that, a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, see you in 2 weeks, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care.